Students, in the previous class we started our lesson with a Tamil poem. In this class, let us start our class with an English poem. This poem talks about a woman or a lady who wants to be reborn as a child, who wants to live again her childhood, and so she is addressing her mother to rock her to sleep, to rock her to sleep. Let us see the poem. Rock me to sleep. Backward, turn backward, O time in your flight. Make me a child again just for tonight. Mother, come back from the echoless shore. Take me again to a heart as of yore. Kiss from my forehead the furrows of care. Smooth the few silver threads out of my hair. Over my slumbers of your loving watch keep. Rock me to sleep, mother, rock me to sleep. Backward, flow backward, O tide of the years. I am so weary of toil and of tears. Toil without recompense, tears all in vain. Take them and give me my childhood again. I have grown weary of dust and decay, weary of flinging my soul wealth away, weary of sowing for others to reap. Rock me to sleep, mother, rock me to sleep. Tired of the hollow, the base, the untrue. Mother, oh mother, my heart calls for you. Many a summer the grass has grown green, blossomed and faded, our faces between. Yet, with strong yearning and passionate pain, long I tonight for your presence again. Come from the silence so long and so deep. Rock me to sleep, mother, rock me to sleep. Over my heart in the days that are flown, no love like mother love ever has shown. No other worship abides and endures, faithful, unselfish, and patient like yours. None like a mother can charm away pain from the sick soul and the world-weary brain. Slumbers soft calms over my heavy lids creep. Rock me to sleep, mother, rock me to sleep. Come, let your brown hair just lighted with gold fall on your shoulders again as of old. Let it drop over my forehead tonight, shading my faint eyes away from the light. For with its sunny-edged shadows once more, haply will throng the sweet visions of yore. Lovingly, softly its bright billows sweep. Rock me to sleep, mother, rock me to sleep. Mother, dear mother, the years have been long since I last listened your lullaby song. Sing then, and to my soul it shall seem, womanhood's years have been only a dream, clasped to your heart in a loving embrace, with your light lashes just sweeping my face, never hereafter to wake or to weep. Rock me to sleep, mother, rock me to sleep. Elizabeth Akers Allen. My dear students, this is one of the beautiful and mother sentiment poems. This poem talks about how the woman longs to go back to her mother and be with her mother, how she wants to stay with her mother forever. This is a parallel poem, my dear students. It is not for your examination point of view, it is just for your reading and understanding. Know that there are number of poems like this. Alright? Good. Such kind of poems are given to you to create poems, to write poems, and to read good poems. Alright? Students, you already know what figures of speech is. Here it is just a reminder of it, so that we can find out the figures of speech in our poem. Shall we see? Good. A figure of speech is a departure from the ordinary form of expression or the ordinary course of ideas in order to produce a greater effect. அதாவது எந்த ஒரு விஷயத்தையும் வித்தியாசமாக கொஞ்சம் ஸ்ட்ரைக் பண்ணுறது மாதிரி சொன்னோம்னா அதனுடைய இம்பேக்ட்டு டிஃப்ரெண்ட்டாக பாசிட்டிவாக இருக்கும். அது அந்த மாதிரி பேசுகிறதுக்கும் அந்த மாதிரி எழுதுறதுக்கு பேர் தான் வந்து ஃபிகர்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஸ்பீச். புரியுதுங்களா? திஸ் ஃபிகர்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஸ்பீச் may be classified as under, 1. Those based on resemblance such as simile, metaphor, personification, apostrophe. 2. Those based on contrast such as antithesis, epigram, all those things. And third, those based on association such as metonymy and synecdoche. And fourth one, those depending on construction such as climax and anticlimax. For example, you are very familiar with the figures of speech like simile and metaphor. Again, let me remind you what it is. Simile. In a simile, a comparison is made between two objects of different kinds which have, however, at least one point in one. The simile is usually introduced by such words as like or so or as it is or so. Examples: the Assyrian came down like a wolf on the fold. And the like is a simile here. In the same way, let us see what a metaphor is. A metaphor is an implied simile. It does not, like the simile, state that one thing is like another thing or acts as another, but takes that for granted and proceeds as if the two things were one. Thus, when we say he fought like a snake, அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து simile. But we use a simile. But when we say it in metaphor, he was a lion in the fight. We use as a metaphor. All right? Good. In our poem, namely Once Upon a Time, few of the figures of speech identified. Namely, first let us see alliteration. What is an alliteration? Remember, when two or more words close together in a line begin with the same consonant, creating different sound textures, is called alliteration. அதாவது போயத்தில் ஒரு லைனில் இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரே லைனில் ரெண்டு கான்சனன்ட் பிகினிங் ஆஃப் தி வேர்டு வந்து சேமாக இருந்துச்சு அப்படின்னா அதுக்கு பேர் வந்து அல்லிட்ரேஷன். இப்போ உதாரணத்துக்கு ஹேண்ட்ஸ் வித்தவுட் ஹார்ட்ஸ் அப்படிங்கிறதுல வந்து ஹேண்ட்ஸ் ஹார்ட்ஸ் அப்படிங்கிறது அல்லிட்ரேஷன். அதே மாதிரி தீஸ் மியூட்டிங் திங்ஸ் அப்படிங்கிறதுல தீஸ் அப்படிங்கிறதும் திங்ஸ் அப்படிங்கிறதும் alliteration. So show me sun. So show our sun அப்படிங்கிறது when I was, when அப்படிங்கிறது was அப்படிங்கிறது அந்த alliteration. புரியுதுங்களா? Remember, my dear students, alliteration deals with the sound, not the letter. Many students misunderstand it is merely the letter. It is not so. Not only the letters, but the sound. For example, if there is a lion, she is quiet and curious. Suppose there is a line in the poem like this. Both quiet and curious can be alliteration because the word quiet, the pronunciation, and curious, the pronunciation, the sound goes together and the sound is the same. The beginning of the consonant is same and so they are alliteration. Alright, good. My dear students, assonance. Assonance meaning it is a repetition of vowels. What is it? A repetition of vowels without repetition of consonants. Like so as in stony and holy. Stove, how. The vowel sound is there, no? So stony, holy. The vowel sound is the same. Alright. In the same way, in our poem, we have lot of lines. Another figure of speech we find in our poem is caesura. What is it, caesura? Caesura is a break in a line where the reader pauses, usually through punctuation. In our poem it is, feel at home, come again, they say, and when I come. So all these are called caesura. Alright. My dear students, for the better understanding of the poem, let us see the exclusive expression or phrasal meaning in this poem. 1. Laugh with their hearts, which means laughter that is natural. Laugh with their teeth, which means the laughter that is artificial. Third one, shake hands without their hearts, which means A handshake that does not show like dresses, warmth, but a routine formality. Fourth one, shake hands with heart, which means a handshake that conveys feelings. Next, hand search my empty pockets, which means the relationship is measured in terms of how much money or power one has. Next one, feel at home, which means to feel comfortable. There will be no thrice, which means one is no longer welcome if he or she visits someone very often. Next one, learn to wear many faces, which means people can change their expressions to suit different occasions. Next one, like a fixed portrait smile, which means a smile which remains fixed and does not change with personal feelings and moods. Next one, I want to unlearn all these, which means I wish to forget modern trends and return muting things to a more natural style of living. Next one, cold eyes, which means emotional eyes. Search, which means look for something, indeed, something which does not exist. Here is a paragraph for you, my dear students, for this particular poem. In the beginning of the paragraph, you will have to write the title like poem, poet, theme. Alright? Let us, I will read it. Either you can make a note of it or you can see it visually. Good. Poem. Once upon a time. Poet Gabriel O'Carroll. Theme, duplicity displayed by modern men. In the beginning of a paragraph, you can quote words from the poem. Once upon a time, son, they used to laugh with their hearts. That's a quote. Now the poem, the paragraph starts. The poem Once Upon a Time was written by Gabriel O'Carroll, a poet and a novelist. In this poem, he laments the negative change in the society. The modern society has become hypocritical in everything. He tells the modern children how he was when he was young and the change the society brought on him when he grew up. It is written in the form of a monologue. The poet O'Carroll, in this narrative monologue, condemns the duplicity displayed by adults both in their words and actions. Here, a father laments to his son about the negative changes that come into the attitude and behavior of humans when they grow into adults. He says that people used to be truthful when they laughed and the honesty would be reflected in their eyes. But people of modern times laugh outwardly. People welcome others and exchange pleasant enquiries, but those words come only from their tongues and not from the depth of their hearts. The poet admits that he has also changed into a hypocrite. However, he admits that though he fakes his expression, he does all this against his own will. Alright, the paragraph ends, my dear students. So show me, son, how to laugh and show me how. with that quote, the paragraph ends. Here is another paragraph question, namely, explain the things that the poet has learned when he grew into an adult. Again, the title poem, Once Upon a Time, poet Gabriel O'Carroll, theme, duplicity displayed by modern man. The quote in the beginning of a paragraph. But now they only laugh with their teeth, while their eyes block cold eyes search behind my shadow. Let me start the paragraph. Gabriel Wakaro, who was born in 1921, is a Nigerian poet and novelist. His verse has been translated into several languages. Wakaro's typical poem transits from everyday reality to moments of delight and moves back to reality, making a complete circle. The poet Okaro, in his poem Once Upon a Time, painfully condemns the duplicity displayed by adults both in their words and actions. Here, a father laments to his son about the negative changes that creep into the attitude and behavior of humans when they grow into adults. He used to be genuine when he laughed, but now his laughter is fake. He has learned to laugh without any feelings. Their handshakes used to be warm and happy, conveying a sense of togetherness. But nowadays, the handshakes have become a mere falsity. He too has learned to give such handshakes. He has again learned how to welcome people with the words coming only from the lips. When he can change the facial expressions according to the situations, now he can change the facial expressions according to these situations. The end of the quotation, cocktail face with all their confronting smiles like a fixed portrait smile. Dear students, appreciation of the poem, poetic lines, I think may not be something new to you. Still, we have poetry appreciation or appreciation of the poetic lines. You know, you will be given one line or two lines from the poem. You will have to appreciate the lines by way of answering the questions given to you. For example, let us see one by one. Read the following sets of poetic lines and answer the questions that follow. Question number 1. The lines given here is, once upon a time, son, they used to laugh with their hearts. This is the line given from the poem. Now the questions, three questions have been asked, namely, who is addressed by the poet here? The answer, the poet's son is addressed here. Second question, when did they laugh with their hearts? The answer, once upon a time or long, long ago, long back they used to laugh with their hearts. Third one, what does the poet mean by laugh with their heart? By the phrase laugh with their heart, the poet means genuine laughter, not outward laughter. The next poetic lines are, now they shake hand without hearts, while their left hand search my empty pockets. Question, what does the poet mean in the first line? Answer, the poet means that people's handshake is not genuine. Next question, what do their left hands do? Answer, their left hand searches the pocket of the other. Third question, why should their hand search the pockets? Answer, they are trying to find out the worth of the other person, whether he is rich or influential. Next poetic lines are cocktail face with all their conforming smiles like a fixed portrait smile. Question, what is a cocktail face? Cocktail face is a face which shows mixed emotions. Second question, how do they smile? Answer, their smile is not genuine. Their smile is deceitful and artificial. Next poetic lines, I have also learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance. The questions, what does the poet mean by goodbye? His wish is fake. When he says goodbye, he actually means that he is happy to get rid of him. Next question, what does the poet mean by good riddance? He means that he is happy to be free from an unwanted person. Good riddance means to be happy. To be happy being free from an unwanted person. I think, my dear students, ERC is something new to you, if I am right so. So, ERC means explaining the reference with the context. Explaining the reference with the context. You know, you will be given one or two or three lines from the poem you have learned. What you will have to do is, you will have to explain those lines with the reference and the context. Actually, reference is you will have to write where this line have been taken from, or which poem this line have been taken from, and by whom was this poem written, or simply you can write the poem and the poet. You will be given 2 marks, you don't worry. And the context, you will have to mention at what context these lines are said, and the explanation, you will have to explain the meaning of this line. Is that alright, my dear students? Again I tell you, reference, you will have to mention the poem and poet, context, at what context or in when these lines are said, and the explanation, you will have to explain the lines. So you are given 3 marks for this. Alright, good. Now let us read the first ERC. The first line we have been given is, once upon a time, son, they used to laugh with their eyes. This is the poetic line. You will have to write the reference with colon. These lines are taken from the poem Once Upon a Time, written by Gabriel Okaro, a Nigerian poet. That's all, the reference. Next, context. Go for colon. The poet recalls with anguish how the people in the olden days laughed quite naturally. That's all the context. Explanation. In this poem, the poet says that in the olden days people had real human values, and in the modern world people have only fake human values. In the past, the poet used to give real laughter which could be seen in his happy eyes. That's all the explanation. If you write everything perfect, you are given maximum mark of full mark. Alright, good. The next question for the ERC is, There will be no thrice. Reference: Gabriel O'Caro utters this line in his poem Once Upon a Time. Context: the poet utters these words when he tries to explain how people meet each other in the modern times. Explanation: in this poem he says that in the olden days people had real human values, and in the modern world people have only fake human values. In the modern time, when people meet others, they say without meaning, feel at home and come again. But if we visit them for the third time, we will not be welcomed. The next ERC question is: I have learned to wear many faces like dresses. Reference: these lines are taken from the poem Once Upon a Time, written by Gabriel O'Caro, a Nigerian poet. Context: the poet painfully says people change their faces according to their situation. Explanation: in this poem, he says that in the olden days people had real human values, and in the modern world people have only fake human values. In the modern time, people change their facial expressions according to the situation. Thus, they become hypocrites. The poet also has learned to wear many faces just as he changed his dresses. The next ERC question is: I want to be what I used to be. A reference: these lines are taken from the poem Once Upon a Time, written by Gabriel O'Caro, a Nigerian poet. Context: the poet wants to say that he is not happy to be what he is. Explanation: in this poem, he says that in the olden days, people had real human values, and in the modern days, in the modern world, people have only fake human values. In the modern world, people's laughter, handshakes, and pleasantries are fake and not real. The poet also follows this and now, but he wants to be real as he was in the past.